Hello, my name is Mario Guerrero, and the year is 2026. Today, the South Texas Builders Association is bringing you a podcast with Khanna. Khanna is a congressman from District 17 in California, better known as Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is made up of NVIDIA, Meta, Google, and Apple. The most influential tech companies in the world are under his representation. 1/3 of the U.S. economy runs through his district. I want to thank Ronnie Cavazos, my co-host with the Structure team, for being part of this podcast. I also want to thank Benny Melendez with BM3 Construction for taking part of this podcast. But overall, I want to thank Khanna for taking the time out of his busy schedule to come on the podcast and to show the world that we can come together from different backgrounds, from different ideas, and we can still agree to disagree and show love to one another at the end of our conversation. Once again, welcome to the South Texas Builders Association podcast. Blessings.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the STBA podcast. Like always, we have Ronnie Cavazos, my co-host here with Structure Team. We have two guests on the podcast today that are not normally here. We have Mr. Benny Melendez with BM3 Construction, and we have somebody that I would like to say thank you for reaching out to us. He's a representative from California. He represents the 17th Congressional District, which is better known as Silicon Valley. 1/3 of the nation's wealth actually, I would like to say maybe gets produced there. How would you describe it, Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Rowe?
about you have a economy stock market $70 trillion, and you have $20 trillion of wealth in Silicon Valley. Apple, Nvidia, Google, Tesla, Broadcom, and yeah, it's phenomenal as an innovation. But my whole point is you can't have so much of the nation's wealth concentrated in a few places in the hands of a few. That we need the future economy working for every American in every community.
So you represent Silicon Valley. We are builders from South Texas. Okay.
It's a natural fit.
Yeah. But what does Silicon Valley need? What could Silicon Valley learn from us about building homes?
Well, we can learn a couple things. One, focus on trade schools and the good jobs that people can have making stuff with their hands and building things. Not everyone has to be behind a laptop. Not everyone has to be on their iPhone to make an honorable living. We can learn the importance of community, that when you're building something of value, that the builders obviously make money, but so do all of the employees, that they can participate in the profits, that they can have a decent and good life. And we should learn the value of immigration. Important for both places. Important because we want to lead AI and we want to lead in technology, and a lot of immigrants help do that. But we also want to lead in building things and making things. And a lot of immigrants help do that. I mean, the idea of ICE going rogue has hurt, of course, people in Silicon Valley, but it's also hurt people who are pouring concrete and who are framers, and it's just sabotaging our economy.
Mr. Khanna, when the discussion went through congressional, I guess you could say, like through the voting system of our Congress on this whole bill that was going to fund ICE a certain percentage and all these fundings that were going to be implemented towards Homeland Security. Did you one, did you vote for that? And two, did it ever cross your mind that you would see such level of intensity in this particular organization that is within the federal government?
Absolutely, I didn't vote for it. By the way, I didn't vote for Lake and Riley when a lot of Democrats were appeasing this president and voting for a bill that basically gave the president the authority to have mass deportation without due process. I voted against that. I voted against all the funding.
Awesome.
Why? Why? Because you have an agency that is literally killing fathers, killing parents, killing Americans who are citizens, but also killing the undocumented who've been here for decades and simply living the American dream. It's wrong. Everyone understands we need a secure border. You believe we need a border?
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
of course. No, you can't have a country without a border.
Right.
Everyone understands that there has to be a process to the immigration system. Everyone understands we need immigration enforcement. Everyone understands we need an agency that's going to go after terrorists. That was the point after 9/11. That's going to go after drug traffickers.
Right.
But what we don't want is ICE agents in our streets going after a framer or a construction worker or someone who is picking and preparing our food and paying taxes and being cruel. And so we need to abolish this agency and have a new agency that actually follows the law.
We're once again, we're builders from South Texas, and we've this organization and the board, we all come from different backgrounds and we all have different political views.
Right.
Not everybody voted for Trump in our organization.
Yep.
Some of us, like myself, voted Democrat and then voted for Kamala. We seem to be able to come together at our table and come up with solutions. We're all here, right, with different political views.
Trump, Kamala.
Yeah.
Don't say it like that.
Why is it that we can sit down together and come up with ways to solve problems, and Washington can't?
Money in politics. There's so much of this money that corrupts the process, where people are more concerned about what their donors are saying than what ordinary Americans are saying. The sense of anger sells. You know, if you say something, if I were to curse you out here, we'd probably go viral. We having a normal conversation, we can make progress, but it's not going to be as exciting.
Right.
And so their
Right.
politicians are incentivized to attack, to criticize, to
Right.
mock, to
Right.
ridicule, because they want to go viral. They want to make a name for themselves. And what we need to realize is that the country wants more decency, wants folks who understand they don't have a monopoly on the truth, wants folks to talk about politics like we talk about it at a bar or over, at a halftime of a football game. Just have a politics like ordinary people talk in their communities. And we got to get back to that.
Yeah, common decency, right?
Yes, sir. And I have a real personal question. So I want to clarify. I only voted for Trump one time.
All right. We'll give you a pass.
We'll give you.
And
He's
next time-
a part timer.
He's not me.
We'll give you a pass.
Yeah, don't do it, guys. It doesn't feel good. So this is my question.
What about Trump made you vote for him that one time?
Well, we face a crisis on the border.
Yeah.
Remember, we're from the border. We saw
Yeah.
millions of people crossing.
Yeah.
And what do you think the next Democratic president should do?
That's my question for you.
This is a good question.
Yeah, so I give the opportunity to the Democrats already on the past. They didn't do enough for our people, and I want to believe that's the reason why Trump won the second time.
Yeah.
And now we give the opportunity to Trump, and I don't have to go into detail on that. So if we give the opportunity, the Latino community, the Hispanic, if we give the opportunity again to the Democrats, what do you offer to us different from
Great
last
question.
time?
First, Benny, is the economy.
Okay.
Mario is a good, strong, small business owner. He's maybe doing $15 million in revenue.
I can't take all the credit. Shout out to my mom and my dad.
All right.
Yeah.
And I got other small business owners. We've got to figure out if they want capital, how we get them capital that gets investment. So he wants to buy more land, he can do that. Right now, it's 85% of the capital is in Silicon Valley. Why aren't we funding more of our small and medium-sized businesses, getting equity for them?
Okay.
Second, we've got to get trade schools, 1,000 new trade schools. So young folks, after they have a high school degree, they can get a good job that pays a high wage. Third, we've got to get technology centers, because I want young kids in the Latino community to be entrepreneurs, to be able to build wealth,
Yes, sir.
to be able to understand new technology. I'm not just talking about that. I've done this with the University of Nevada, Reno. We put up a program with Google, $5,000 scholarships for young Latino kids. They
Wow.
got $90,000 jobs at the end of it in technology. What are we doing for the next generation? We need to make sure that we have a home buying program. So I have a policy that says if you work 7 years, you should get zero down payment, low interest loans to buy your first house by 35 so that you can live the American dream. We should have free public college if you want to go to college, so you don't have to go to debt if you're a kid and want to have a chance at college. We should have health care for everyone, health care as a human right, Medicare for all, so that you don't have huge deductibles and premiums that you're paying. So the first point is we need an economic agenda
Okay.
to overcome the wealth gap in this country. And the Latino community, like the Indian American community, is one of the most entrepreneurial communities there is.
Yeah.
And I understand that politicians come and we first talk about immigration. I'll get to immigration. But the first thing we need to talk about is the economic mobility. How are Latino families going to have the American dream in a modern economy? The second thing we need to do is talk about common sense on immigration. What does that mean? It means, of course, we need a secure border and a process. But for folks who are here, who have been working year after year, 50, 60, 70 hours, doing the work and paying taxes, there has got to be a path to citizenship for them. Now, at the very least, let's first legalize them, because we keep talking about path to citizenship and we never get there. We got to deliver something.
Right.
We got to make sure that there's, in my view, a path to citizenship, but at least start by legalization so they're not in the shadows.
But Mr. Khanna, it seems like someone in Congress always starts a bill, right? And for the people that because we're not educated in politics, we're definitely not attorneys. But you start to understand that anybody can make a bill, right? And then it has to go and get signatures, and then it has to go through a process. And you think to yourself, has anyone ever just sat down and been like, look, guys, we have a problem. The problem is real. We got 1/3 of the wealth of the national wealth right here, a representative that has billionaires shooting rockets into space at will. And we can't honestly fix the border. I'd see it like this. When the Democratic Party was in office with President Joe Biden, when President Joe Biden was in office, from my office, from one of my offices in McAllen to the border in Progreso, you're looking at a 15-minute drive. And it's very common for us to walk over there and have lunch, dinner,
Eat with family.
eat with family. And we saw people thrown on the ground under the border. We saw people, I still remember vividly seeing Border Patrol just standing there. And there was people swimming back and forth from Mexico, right? People are like, well, why did you vote for Trump? That's not normal. It looked like a humanitarian crisis. You had people living in tents that the tents were all beat up. They looked horrible.
Now that's not there.
Well, it's not there, right? But that's what we're saying. It's during the administration that was under Mr. Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, we saw an extreme that was horrible. And they had detention centers too. There was a detention center in Donna that was detaining kids.
Yeah.
And they had 40 to 60 kids per pod, right? So this whole detention stuff has been around for a long time. It's been around since, I don't even know if it's maybe before Obama. So my thing is, where is a leader that's going to be like, hey, man, let's cut the crap. Oh, and disclaimer, here at this podcast, you say whatever you want. Let's cut the crap. You got a donor that's putting $1 million in your pocket. You got a donor that's putting another 100 fucking million in your pocket. You got a donor, hey, man, what about peace? You said you were Indian. You said, hey, Indian and Hispanics come from a hardworking background. Why is that? Because we have parents that maybe came from nothing. We have grandparents that maybe came from nothing. And they teach you the value of not letting their hard work go to waste. If I would not have pride for what my parents have been able to create, I probably wouldn't be here. My mom and my dad had everything going against them. Everything. My mom was incarcerated early in her infancy, and she served 4 years in federal prison. And she came out. She did something for herself.
Before she had you?
I was 3 years old when she was picked up.
Wow.
Yeah, and she did 4 years in federal prison.
For what?
She was married to a wrong person. My fraternal father did 16 years. So I come from a system where it's like you have everything against
Where did you grow up?
I was born in McAllen, Texas, and I grew up in Roma. And when both my parents were picked up, I grew up in Liga Aleman, which is across Roma, Texas.
Who raised you?
My grandparents. Yeah, and then my mom picked up me and my brother. My brother was 10 months when that happened, and I was 3 years old. I was 3.5. And then eventually she came back and picked us up. She met my stepdad, and her and my stepdad are the owners of the construction company.
They must be proud of you.
But that's why I'm proud of them, because my mom, not just being a business owner, she had everything going against her. She came out. When you came out of prison, she didn't have anything to her name. She did nails and she cut hair, and my stepdad was a cop. He retired. He let that go. He sold lumber. He started building with one house, and then eventually saved some money, was able to build 2 to 3 houses, and then eventually, at one point he was building like 40 houses a year, and but they came from nothing. I still remember my stepdad would cook lunch, and we would go eat in back of Mel Norman in McAllen on North 10th, while my mom would have a 30-minute lunch break, and we would eat in the car as a family. So I think to myself, like, we come from backgrounds where it's like, if you don't step up, you're going to throw away everything that your parents have done.
You have a duty to them.
Yeah.
I love that.
And that to me, it's like, dude, like, where's the leader inside Congress and all these people to just be like, dude, wake the fuck up.
What do you want them to do? What would be something that would make your life actually better?
Well, first of all, it would be good if people could come together and just be like, okay, dude,
Commonalities.
we have billionaires that are throwing rockets to space, según.
You love the space point, huh?
But it's because it's insane to think, right? I would assume that it's harder to build a rocket than it is to come up with some sort of system for the southern border, because it doesn't seem like we have this issue with the northern border. Yeah. And I'm sure there is some sort of issue there that they're not televising and emphasizing on.
Solving the immigration problem is not rocket science. That's what I think we're trying to say. Yeah. If it's not rocket science, why can't we get this shit fixed?
It's a political thing that needs to be done with, man.
What's the actual problem?
Every cycle of this political thing, and there's people like myself that come from true pain, that have gone through all sorts of things, seen death. You see all these things, and you're just like, dude, we're tired. Like, and that's why when you're like, you should run. I'm at the point in my life where I'm like, well, maybe I will.
You should. I'm supporting this guy.
That's what needs to. That's
me too.
Well, then that's what needs to
I'll
happen.
think about it.
Right?
It's tiring.
But what would be your agenda on immigration and on the economy? If you were saying, okay, we're going to have a Democrat coming back because they've so messed up, but we don't want the Democrat next time to mess up, right? So that they just have then the Republicans come back. What could a Democratic president, Democratic House, Senate do on immigration and on the economy? 3 things each that you would say, okay, they're actually delivering, they're listening.
Well, we already have inside of airports, we already have a form of tracking facial recognition. When you're going through airports now, they give you the option to take this picture, right? But since you're part of a system and everybody's already doing it, you kind of feel obliged to just stand there like a mannequin and take the picture, right?
I didn't even know it was an option. I just
yeah, it's an option.
Okay.
It's an option, but most people don't know that, right? Because it's a system and we're all sheep going through it. And I would like to believe that we are at the state where we have flock cameras now popping up left and right with AI technology that are basically going through vehicles and tracking who's in there. They're not saying that to the public, but I think that we're at the state where you automatically would know if that guy has any felonies. Hey, man, if somebody's trying to come into this country, which is the American dream, if I'm not mistaken, is to be able to provide whatever better life you can from hard work. Or am I wrong? It's hard work, right? Yeah. It's not easy to make something of yourself here in this country. And even then, I believe that if you want something in this country, you can be anything you want. And I use my parents as that testament from a 18-year-old that went into the system, a federal system, and came out and was still able to create a construction company from nothing. That's where it's like, if you want something bad enough. So on the immigration point, why can't we have a system where you have facial recognition in the history? Because they already know everything of everyone. We're all being monitored by Facebook and Instagram. They know everything about everyone. Well, you don't think that they know everything about the people trying to come into this country?
So basically you're saying have technology to make sure that it's secure.
Yeah, because people say, well, it's taken forever because of the paperwork. We're at the point in our lives where paperwork is going to be, I mean, everything is on a cloud now. It's technology driven.
So you want technology to have a secure border. What else?
I would say that if you can monitor, but with technology, AI or some sort of system, to just scan a person. All right, this person has no criminal history.
So Mario, adding to that,
But I'm not a politician. I don't know. Like I'm not a.
But of course, not on Americans, not on people here. You're talking about people who are coming because you don't
Yes,
want to have
sir.
surveillance
Yes.
on
Yeah.
people here.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if you're asking like, hey,
You don't want a guy who's Latino driving around in the, in Austin and having a flock camera and get pulled over or get harassed just because of their profile, right?
Well, those flock cameras, and I'm sorry to cut you
oh,
off.
don't worry.
I don't know if we as actual citizens have any say so on those flock cameras. I've already tried to reach out to mayors back in the valley and send them pictures like, hey, we got 16 flock cameras from 281 driving into our cities. We have 16.
How do you feel about them?
Well, I just want to know who said that it was okay to put them there.
Is that you feel your privacy is invaded?
I mean, I mean, as citizens of the United States, don't we have like don't we have
free
like
to roam? You know?
No, but like, hey, guys, we're gonna put these cameras that can track you everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's too much.
It's a little
It's a
Or
little too
reaching.
much.
yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't have a surveillance state on our citizens. It's one thing to have the technology on the border because there's a process. You can't have people coming in who haven't been vetted and who haven't had who may have a history. But in our country, we should not have this kind of surveillance state.
Why do you think they did it?
Well, because they want to profile people. They want it's trying to give law enforcement more power. And I'm all for law enforcement, but not at the expense of people's liberties and their privacy.
It feels like an invasion of privacy. What are you gonna say right now?
I just want to touch back on immigration because I believe that's the number one topic for the Hispanic and the Latinos immigration. That's something we feel in the heart. So
Would
let's.
you abolish ICE?
Well, I'm at the point that I'm really thinking about it. Now that you explained it, that we can create a new system, and it's interesting, yes. But going back to what I was talking about, so these illegal aliens, we have to remember, there are workers, there are neighbors, there are friends, there are families, they're part of our community already. Can they be treated as our community?
I love that. Yeah.
That's what we want for 13 million of the legal people to be treated as our community. That's what we want. How can we do
Humanity.
it? It
Let
depends.
them work.
Yeah, let them work. How can we do it?
And a path to citizenship for them.
Exactly.
Take them out of the
Exactly.
shadows.
Mhm.
I mean, you
Yes.
talk about wanting to build 1,000 trade schools, and at some point, I really hope that happens because I think that we haven't given that part of our education system enough room to grow. However, who's going to teach those kids? If right now we're getting rid of all our maestros, all the guys that know the skill, right? Is it the skilled?
Because they're being deported.
They're all being deported.
Explain to them what a maestro is. Do you know what a maestro is?
A maestro, obviously.
Master?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Those
I
guys.
passed.
Like I
Yeah.
I
did go to Yale.
Yeah.
I passed. No.
Yeah.
The guys who are the framers and the roofers have far more knowledge than I do. You know, I got a book education. You got a street education.
Yes,
I'd
sir.
rather have a street education.
Let's talk about let's talk about Lorenzo Salgado.
Yes.
35 years of framer. You think he is a maestro?
He was, and
Could he have taught our youth to be
Yep.
better framers?
You know, you put it so powerfully yesterday to me. You said when they killed him, when they killed Lorenzo, they killed the American dream.
Absolutely did.
Because he was someone who did everything, right? He had 3 kids, family man. He was a framer. He worked hard. He made a life for himself.
He was on his way to work.
He was paying taxes.
And then they were trying to frame him, saying that he had drugs
Damn,
in
that's
his
crazy.
car, which
Hey.
it turned out to be sugar.
It was
No,
it was
it is.
electrolytes for his
Oh
workers.
yeah, it was electrolytes.
So because it's hot down here.
So they were like,
Like
oh well,
taking
if
care
they
of
were
his
trying
people.
to justify the killing of a human being,
No,
which
I think that person who killed him should be investigated and
Where's the
prosecuted,
uproar?
right?
Where's the uproar?
There's got to be accountability.
Of course there has to be. That's
can't just
that's
get-
called murder.
Yeah, but it's murder of him and it's murder of the American dream, and it's a murder and attack on the Latino community.
Exactly.
Because it's an attack on the family,
Yes,
and
sir.
neighbors, and workers.
Yes, sir.
If Democrats come into power, is there going to be some kind of accountability with these guys?
They need to be prosecuted.
Somebody
They need
needs to
be
start saying
prosecuted.
that.
They need to be
Yeah.
prosecuted.
Absolutely, and that
They
needs
do.
to be said and said loud.
And
Yeah.
if the person was, if Mr. Salgado was actually, I believe that you could tell a lot about a human being by their parents. Have you seen his kids? Have you seen the way that they speak, the way that they present themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Super respectful,
Yep.
super
Beautifully
articulate.
put. Yeah,
And I see that, and I'm like, you can tell that this man
he's a good man.
was a good man.
And did not deserve to get shot.
He had a good house. You could see all these things. I'm
He's
like,
from Houston, right?
Yeah.
yes, sir.
He was from Houston. Yes,
He was
sir.
from Houston, and you see the way that his family was taken care of. His kids are educated. His kids are fighting right now, trying to find justice for their father. And I'm looking at all that. That to me is you are the perfect example of what your dad was. Your parents mold you. I believe in
Do you
being
have
molded.
kids?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I have a daughter and a son.
No, it's absolutely true. It's the travesty of this is that but someone like Lorenzo has overcome all the odds. Right? He wasn't handed anything. He comes to the country. He starts a family. He gets a good job. He cares about his coworkers. He should be celebrated.
Yeah.
He should be celebrated. You know, and instead he's being shot and killed in cold blood, and then there's no accountability. And that's why when people say abolish ICE, people think, oh, is this going to just be a open border? No, we're not talking about an open border. We're talking about a agency that has gone criminal and rogue and is inflicting damage on hardworking Americans and hardworking immigrants and has lost its purpose. They were created to prevent Al Qaeda from flying in planes into the World Trade Center. You know, was Lorenzo going to do that? I mean, come on. They
Yeah.
have totally lost their purpose, and that's
Yeah.
why it's got to be abolished. And we got to start from scratch and an enforcement immigration agency that enforces the law, but with some accountability and human rights, and have a secure border. It's not complicated.
I like to.
People just need at some point Washington just needs to fucking start solving problems
Yeah.
and stop talking one way or the other. They need to come together. Right now we've got naval servicemen that have been in the Strait of Hormuz for 290 some days.
They're
Wow.
jumping off.
They have
dude.
not been on land
They're jumping
for
off.
290 some
Wow.
days.
They're jumping off board.
I want Congress and I want the Senate to not get the fuck out of there until they solve some kind of problems.
Yeah.
Why don't we make them do that?
Seriously,
Mhm.
we should be all
Don't let
taking
them
it to-
out. Trump,
Yeah.
if you really have the cojones to keep the naval service members in the Strait of Hormuz for 290 some days, why don't you have the cojones to keep Washington and keep the Senate to actually solve problems?
Mr. Khanna, didn't somebody
We'll
tell
bring
this guy-
coffee. We'll bring coffee.
Good coffee.
And tacos, and tacos as well.
For real. But Mr. Khanna, didn't somebody tell this guy, like, hey man, like, where are the no new wars?
Yeah.
Where are the no new wars? And I'll say it again. Where are the fucking no new wars?
That's another lie.
Another lie.
He ran on that, right? He said no more wars.
Bro.
He said, I'm only going to go after the criminals. I'm not going to go after people like Lorenzo. He said he was going to bring new manufacturing jobs, new trades jobs, new construction jobs.
We're not winning.
You know, I mean, it was all just rhetoric.
What
That's
they need to do is they need to send ICE to all these oil companies that have illegals working in there too. It's the oil companies that are controlling our government. Just so everybody, and look, bro, it's the oil companies that have us right now with people stranded for 200 plus days at the Strait of Hormuz. They have our own military defending their interests, bro. Nobody else wants to be in there. Nobody. It's the oil companies. If you go and you start looking at pipeline companies here, pipeline companies in Houston and Dallas, hey, I'm telling you all right now, I hit rock bottom in my life and I was digging holes 3 feet wide, 3 feet deep with a freaking hole digger. And I'll tell you this story, Mr. Khanna, because this is real shit. So I'm digging these holes, and I show up at 5:30 in the morning to this spread. I had just dropped out of college. I got to my senior year. I was studying natural gas engineering, and I got to my senior year, and my mom had built me a house, and she was like, "I'm gonna build you a house to go to school, blah blah." And she showed up randomly one day, and I had a girl in there. Learned the biggest lesson of my life. My mom was like, "Get the hell out! I didn't build you this house so that you can have a girl in here." I was broke, didn't know what the heck to do, so I got a job. I was working for Phillips 66 in Galveston, Texas, and they had a contract where, in certain parts of that particular right of way, you couldn't use machinery to dig for fences. So I was digging holes. One day I get there early, and the guy that was running that spread was like, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody that can use a computer." I stayed quiet about it. He's like, nobody here knows how to use a damn computer, blah, blah. I was like, well, come over here. He's like, I need you to help me set up ADPs, electronic checks, blah, 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 blah. They give me a company card, they give me a truck, they give me all this, and I start going from foreman to foreman to foreman. And he knows what I'm about to say because he's seen that life. You know how many illegals these companies have working for them? You know how many people I went to them and they were like, hold on, let me figure out whose number I'm using, whose social I'm using, calling home, blah, blah, blah. So why are they not going after oil companies?
Because the oil companies get money.
Because
Exactly.
the oil companies are controlling it.
And they're exploiting these immigrants. That's why we need these immigrants to be citizens. Because if you're a citizen, then you could have some bargaining power. You can get a proper paycheck. You have proper hours. But when they're undocumented, they are being exploited.
Yes, sir.
They have no say over what these oil companies can do to them.
And these guys, and for the people that don't know that, these guys, they're people from Mexico that are being hired by pipeline companies, oil companies, with documentation of God knows where. Why isn't ICE there? Why don't you hear the oil companies talking that shit?
Yeah.
We got a real issue, right? Our country has a real issue.
Our country has an issue in selective law enforcement, right? This is what the Epstein files were about that Thomas Massey and I did. Why are they 2 tiers of justice? Why is it that if you're rich and powerful, you can get away with sexually abusing, raping young girls? But if you have a ordinary person, they get a flock camera, they'll get a speeding ticket, right? Why is it that small businesses, construction companies, their workers are getting taken by ICE, deported without question? But these big corporations that are giving millions of dollars, they have impunity. They don't have immigration enforcement. It's unfair.
It's crazy.
It's unfair. And the solution to this is to have one system of justice, one set of rules that everybody lives by. And that to say very clearly, if you're here, if you're working hard, if you're paying taxes, you're playing by the rules, we will have you be a citizen. You got a country of 330 million. We have 13 million people who have a path to citizenship, and they pay taxes. That's going to help the community. That's not going to hurt the community. And then you focus the immigration enforcement on the actual sex traffickers, the pedophiles, the drug traffickers, the terrorists.
Yes, sir.
That's common sense.
Mr. Khanna, I personally just want to say thank you. I've been a fan of your work. I look at everything that you do and the things that you say. I'm a big fan of what you're saying and you're preaching.
Well, I appreciate you guys. You're connected to the community. And our people in politics, they've gotten disconnected.
Big time.
They're not talking to the roofers. They're not talking to the framers. They don't know anyone like Lorenzo. They read about Lorenzo in the New York Times, but they don't actually know Lorenzo's kids.
Yeah.
See, I mean, they don't know that Lorenzo had kids who speak politely and are thoughtful and are well raised. They don't. You are from the community. You understand the challenges. It's not academic. And we need people like you to step up and say, we got to serve because this country's a mess.
Yeah.
Country's a mess. We people living in fear, living without dignity, living angry at each other.
Yes,
and
sir.
then they see all these billionaires in my district saying, okay, it's working for them, but is it working for us?
Yep.
And we're making more wealth than ever before. We've got to make sure that this future economy, this future country is working for all of us.
Yes, sir.
And it can be a beautiful country. People from all backgrounds. My grandfather's 4 years, 2 times in jail. 4 years in jail.
I heard he's a legend.
He's a legend, at least in our family.
Yeah, I heard he's a legend in your
Yeah.
family.
And we've got such beautiful stories. People whose grandparents scaled the cliffs of Normandy to fight Nazism. Folks whose grandparents came here with nothing. People, and then like your mother who made something of her life. This is the only country where you have people of all these stories here in the United States of America. And if we can find a common sense way forward, we can have one of the greatest moments in our country's history. And that's why we need people like you out there running for office, doing these podcasts, telling people the real truth of what life is actually like.
We're trying. I want to. Do you guys? We got 30 seconds, or would you guys like to say something before?
If you ever run for president, Mr. Khanna, I would expect that you keep the guys in Congress to actually hold them accountable and make decisions that are better for the entire country. We need that. Otherwise, we're losing what we got.
It's not about Democrat or Republican, man. Yeah. You want to?
Yeah, I'm going to have the three of you be the enforcers.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you gotta come in.
I'll lock the doors and just puncture the tires. You can't leave. It's that simple.
I want to be the ICE director.
That's hilarious.
It'll be called something else.
Something.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what the streets are saying. People are tired of this whole red and blue. Yeah. People are tired. The extremists that are like the loyalists to their party, they're not intact with the streets. We literally live out in the streets every day, and people are tired. What Ronnie said. When and if you decide to run for president, and I believe that you should, and I believe that you would be a great president for our country. I think that you're one of the most centered persons that we've had a conversation with, and we've talked to many people. I think it would be great for our country to have a representative like yourself. Because our country is at the crevices where it might not be the America that we grew up in. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm afraid of. As a father, I'm afraid of that.
I appreciate it. It's going to take all of us. And it's going to take a lot more of these conversations and getting stuff done. And, the end of this point, what Thomas Massey and I did on the Epstein stuff, that was coming across the aisle. He's a Republican from Kentucky. I was a Democrat from California. We said, look, you can put that aside and you can get things done. And we got to do that on immigration. We got to do that on the economy. We got to do that for housing. And if we start to do that, we start to rebuild trust in this country.
I would like to meet Mr. Massey one day. That would be awesome. And for just disclaimer, guys, we have had Democratic representatives reach out to us, and we've reached out to everybody. We're willing to talk to anybody. Just disclaimer.
I love that. I love that.
And thank you once again for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Benny,
you, sir.
Thank you,
sir.
Ronnie.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.